there. Okay, back in with another live stream, and I'm going to try to do a little more work on my setting up my. Yeah, let me check my stream. Okay, make sure my audio is good. I'm gonna do a little more work on setting up my new 8 TB Seagate backup drive for backups. Reformatted it to Ext4 in the last several days. I've done a bunch of research. I wanted to make sure that was the file system I wanted. I ran into something I hadn't thought of. I have a Fedora 14 system that, well, it used to be my main system, and I had 3 backup drives on it, and I was wanting to copy all that stuff over to this new 8 TB drive, and it's about I figured it out yesterday. It's around 2 TB of stuff that I have on there, of files that I have on there, and I wanted to put it all on one drive, and then that would free up those 4 drives. I could leave one in that machine and take the other 3 out and put them in other machines and stuff. But Fedora 14 doesn't. It is the Ext4 file system that it uses, but it's older, and it doesn't support some of the new features, so it couldn't mount the drive. That's what I finally found out. The new Ext4 drive. So, but it mounts up perfectly in Fedora 28, and sure it will in 29, and which is what. Well, my server is going to be 29, which I most likely won't be plugging it into there, but a web server. And then this Lenovo i5, I might, if I decide to go to 20, well, I will go to 29, but I may just reformat to 29, or else I could upgrade, but I went and installed Happy, and I installed a few things with my install scripts, my group install scripts that I make, and I installed a few things just to see if I wanted to, just to try them out. And now the thing has a hang up there in boot that I tried to fix once, followed all the commands that was suggested in the logs, and so they all said they worked, but it didn't fix it. So I might reformat. So I decided I can always just. I'm not going to try to copy 2 TB over the network, but I finally decided, I can just. First, I was thinking, I could take one of those partitions with an old operating system out of that. I have three operating systems in that, the Fedora 14 system. Well, I call it because that's the main system in it. The Red Black BioStar machine. I have 2 other operating systems on there, and I can delete those or empty out those partitions and reformat just those partitions. But that's a little tricky with your backup data. You could screw up and mess. I've done it before, but not on my backup drives, on the other drives where I wasn't as worried about it. But then I got to thinking, I saw my USB sticks down there, and then I saw, I've got this 32 gigabyte. Thought about putting another hard drive in there, but I didn't. There's already 4 hard drives in there, and I'm worried about the system overheating or too much for I think it's a 475 watt power supply. I don't know, how much I'm drawing on it as it is, so I don't want to. I was doing that in my old Pentium 4 before I knew that power supplies generally can't handle what they're rated at, and I ran it for a couple of years on a 350 watt power supply with at least 3 drives in it, and it died. The power supply died. I had to put another one in it. And I'm fiddling with this. Okay, so this is an SD card, 32 gigabyte, in a USB adapter. Now I could just put that in the Red Black BioStar and install, Fedora 29 on it, and then install Lucky Backup on that, and then plug in my backup drive and then back everything up. But I won't be able to do that right now. It's my server. It's my backup server right now. So not my backup file backup, but it's my backup to my web server. It is my web server right now. So until I get my Net Pro Max all set up with the new Fedora 29 server on it, put it in the garage, and get my router, my wireless, my newer wireless repeater set up out there too. I'm using the old Linux that's out there now. Well, it's just nothing's. It's turned off right now. I'm not using it, but because the server's right here on the desk, you know. But it makes too much heat, and it makes enough noise to kind of bother me sometimes when I'm going to sleep or wake. Sometimes I'll wake up hearing it or something. I mean, it doesn't wake me up. It hasn't been doing that. Sometimes it makes a little more noise than usual. You know, the fans start making noise and stuff, and bugs me when I'm sitting here working. You know, this one good thing about this little Lenovo i5, it's really quiet. Can't even really hear it when I'm, you know, just working and doing stuff. But anyway, so let me see. The first thing I want to do, let's go to the desktop. And, well, this is my video that I'm making, my backup video. See, that's the thing that fills up my drives as always, but I just can't see making videos and not backing them up. I make a backup video at the same time I'm uploading, you know, the live one to YouTube. So that gives me, well, this is my backup copy. But I like to have things that are like videos and things that are important to me. I like to have a real 2 copies, you know, the original and the backup. But I haven't had enough space on the machines to be able to keep them, so I've been backing them up and then deleting them off of this machine. I do have, now that I've reformatted it with Fedora 28, I have, you know, right now I have 114.9 gigabytes. So a week ago I had 117 gigabytes. It's, even though I've been deleting these videos, something's making it, you know, grow here and there. So it little by little it goes down, even though I'm not keeping videos on it. But you know, I always, like if I do, lately I've been doing a couple of 2 to 3 videos a day, and they're 2 to 3.5 gigabytes each time, you know, so it adds up fast. So right now I have right now I have the 8 terabyte, which is only showing up as 7.3 terabytes in Crusader File Manager. Just a couple of folders in there that I did, and then I have the 4.5 terabyte. That's the 5 terabyte labeled 5 terabyte drive, and 4.5 is what it showed up as usable space. So these are all of my backups, my newer backups. And the older ones are on the other machine, like I said. And that's about 2 terabytes of data there. So what I want to do is copy this. I was going to do the Red Black Battlestar first, but that's just going to be, it's going to take so much time to do all that. I need to get my server back set up and running and back in the garage, so I don't have to deal with the heat in here and the noise, you know, in here. So I'm going to, it won't matter that much, you know. Lucky Backup's not going to overwrite older, you know, newer files with older files or anything like that. So that's what I plan on using. So what I'm going to do then is set me up a Lucky Backup profile to back up all these files over to the new 8. I'll just call it. It's hard. It bugs the heck out of me calling something 8 terabyte when it's 7.2 or 3 terabyte. See what it says right here. What does it say? It says 6.9 terabyte, 3 out of 7.2. Now, whenever you clicked on that deal, it said 7.3 terabyte. So it's kind of, each program is just a little bit different in how they report things too. Anyway, it bugs me to call something that much different than what it is. It bugs the heck out of me buying something and having them lie about what it really is, you know. But it's also hard for me to remember. It's easier for me to remember what it's, you know, what they called it, 8 terabyte and 5 terabyte. But anyway, I'd like to, I've really kind of gotten the habit of calling my drives by what actual space they have, because when I keep saying, well, that's a 3, you know, 5 terabyte drive, and then I go look at it and I go, my gosh, where's all the space gone? You know, well, half of a terabyte was gone when you bought it, you know, on that one. So after a while, I may get in the habit of remembering what space it really is. But anyway, so that's what I want to do. So I want to make me a, I'm going to get back to my original folders there. I like to be able to check make sure that there has been times when that video just stopped working, you know, stopped making. And so once in a while I like to look on it, while I'm, you know, making them. But I'm going to close this just to, you know, have a little less work on the machine. But yeah, they're both mounted up, and and I've got them plugged up to where they can. Well, I got them in my power strip that I turn on when I get up in the morning and turn off when I go to bed. It's my one to my speakers, to my power amplifiers. So that's the way I'll leave them for now. I'll just keep both of these plugged into this machine, and I'm not going to be able to back it up. Lucky Backup uses a lot of resources, so in this case, I will have to leave the machine running. Probably after when I get done in the evening, leave the machine running all night. And the thing is, I don't know how long it's going to take. This is a quad core with 4 gig of RAM. Hopefully, it won't take 3 days to a week. On that red black BIOS drive, I figure it could take 3 days to a week to back it up. But I don't know. I've never backed up that much data at one time, especially to a USB drive. But these are fast. But I do only have USB 2.0, so I really don't. It's the fastest, way faster. I'm used to backing up over the network, so it's way faster than backing up over the network at 100 megabits. So I'm say that I've done a lot of backing up over the network, but really my backups, like I said before, what I used to always work is my desktop machine. It's a big box, I've showed it the last couple of days, a couple of times. Had room for all those drives and everything, so my backups were right there on the machine I'm working on. So that's really what I'm mostly used to, is the backups. The only problem I would have is Lucky Backup slowing the machine down while it was doing its backups. So, and it only lasts about 10 minutes now, so not even that long, maybe. Yeah, about 10 minutes. So anyway, Lucky Backup. Started typing before it got open. Now, when you want it to run, see, you've got Lucky Backup, regular user, and super user. And Fedora, you need to run it. You need to set it up in the super user mode. And so you got to put in the root password. If you need to do that, if you want those to set up a cron job and have it run automatically at any certain time. Is that it? No, that's the email. There it is, schedule. Now, when you set up your schedule, down there at the bottom, the view cron crab. There's the cron tab. That's the cron job. It's a little script, is what it is, and that's set up automatically, so you don't have to do that yourself. And you hit cron it. The first time you do it, you don't have to do that over and over. But you can hit modify and go in here, and I always do at reboot. I've tried doing it at shutdown, but the thing is, you may shut down your machine. I need to reboot my machine. Well, actually, I have to reboot this machine because it only has 256 megabyte of video memory. So I like to watch videos a lot, so I have to reboot it 2 or 3 times a day now. I never used to do that, but so. And anytime you say, I need to reboot my machine, well, if it's going to back up first, you're going to have to wait for that backup to be done, or you're going to have to interrupt it. So, and now if you work or live on a certain schedule, which I don't, I never know when the machine will be running. You could use the schedule if you know, that the machine's going to be running at a certain time, and you want it every day. You could use a schedule. But I just use at reboot 10 minutes. I've done different 10, 15, 20 minutes after. I find if I wait too long, I might have by that time already decided to reboot the machine because I'm doing some sort of work, and I might interrupt it then. So anyway, it's already set up. But when you set it up the first time, you hit cron it, and that'll might build that cron job and put it in the right folder and everything, right file in the right folder. I've looked at it before, so I got kind of familiar with what goes on now. And you notice this is empty. That's because I forgot when I first built this system, and I built all my profiles in the regular user mode. Well, they wouldn't automatically run when I set up I'm pretty sure you can set up your cron job and all that stuff, but it just didn't run. So you can, luckily you can, there's a lot of work too. You can export and import profiles. So right there. So I imported it in here. So, but you can't overwrite the default profile. It won't let you. So now I could make new stuff in here. You know, it'd be fine. But well, I don't know if that would mess this up. This does run perfectly. See, I just clicked on that default Don profile because it was the default profile for Don. So I gave it that name so I would know and help me remember not to make that mistake. I've gone over the years building and rebuilding systems. I've done it the right way and I've done it the wrong way and had to fix it. But it's not the biggest thing in the world to have to fix it. But anyway, it's confusing when you open it up and it's empty. I've done it. I've looked at it and gone, oh crap, what's going on? Where's my profiles? You know. But so anyway, they run and do like they should, even though you don't see it unless you click on that profile, you know. And also you can import them from other versions. Like if you you export it, save it on your backup drive, and then import it in your new, you know, your new operating system. Now, if you do, like say I stayed on Fedora 14 for years and until Firefox and Thunderbird were no longer could update themselves. They no longer could, you know, they no longer supported Fedora 14. So then I had to go to Fedora 23 is what I went to, and then I went to Fedora 28 last year. Well, actually, it was just a few months ago. I stayed on Fedora 23 until a few months ago. So it takes me a while to get my system the way I like it, and it takes me a while to want to get around to redoing it. And, of course, Fedora has, a while back, a few years ago, it started trying to be a rolling distro where you could do upgrades, but used to it always popped up notices automatically saying it's time to upgrade, don't you want to upgrade? And it doesn't do that. I don't know why, but I guess it doesn't do it by default. And I do automatic updates, so, and it never automatically updated. And used to, oddly enough, years ago, if you didn't update after so long, it would go ahead and try to update it for you. Upgrade it is the word. That's what I'm trying to say. Upgrade it for you. Upgrade the operating system. But I didn't do that on Fedora 23 ever. So, and I don't remember ever purposely turning it off or anything. But they used to say you can upgrade, but we recommend you reinstall. So I always did reinstall. I think I'd upgraded once or twice, and it was just like they said. There was a bunch of apps that were kind of broken, and wasn't really no way to fix them, you know. So uninstall them and try to reinstall them or something, but it was a pain finding them and all that stuff. So that's when I learned to build my install scripts. I learned that years ago, and so that's what I would do: is new install and then run my install scripts to try to get things back to close to what they used to be. Okay, so these are my daily backups. Those are for backing up my phones. These are actually for take the SD cards out of the phones, put them in my USB adapter like I was showing a while ago, and then run these. But you have to do that one at a time. So what I'm thinking, I showed this the other day, you can do remote, you know, network backups. So I'm thinking I may try to put a public. I've already got a public and private key set up on this machine, so if I set up, I'll have to go through the instructions, I think. I don't think I can remember it. It's been a long time since I've done it, but with Lucky Backup. But if I set me up a public and private key on my phones, then I should be able to do that and back them up over the SSTP over SSH. There's an app called SSH Droid that I have on there you can use it with any app that can do SFTP, and that's what Lucky Backup does. So anyway, first thing I want to do though is I'm going to add a new task, and I won't give it a name up there yet. Backup source inside destination. There's other options. Synchronize. Now that makes it go both ways. So I don't want that. I want backup source inside destination. Synchronize would, well, here's what happens. I'm saying it doesn't go both ways. This is what you want to be careful with when you're backing up. If you say synchronize, then whatever is on your source is what you get on your backup. So whatever was already on your backup would be deleted. Now, there you go. That's the crux of it. And you got to, now like me, I have the 2 terabytes of backup data, and I back up the same drive from multi sources. So you would never want to use that sync on a drive like that. I mean, of course, mine, I have it all set up. Specific folders, going to, well, I started to show them, but there's no point in going into that. Specific folders going to other specific folders, trying to organize it the way I want it, you know. So, man, that's kind of what I'm going to be doing right now. Now, you really do need to go into the advanced to get the settings that you need done, even though it's not really advanced. Okay, so my source is going to be, in this case, since I'm in root mode, Lucky Backup in root mode, it goes to the root folder, or the root user folder, but that's not where I want to go. I want to go to, whoops, let's see if you can, yeah, you're not going to see your backup. Wait a minute, am I? No. Now that's, well, that does look like the Seagate drive. No, well, but it doesn't show the folders. Okay, so been a while since I've made it. You don't double click in here. Most things in here you do need to double click. Okay, so you have to go to find your USB drives. You got to go to Run, Media. I'm going to type keyboard Don. Now, they were both named Seagate expansion drive, and that was confusing. But since I reformatted the 8 terabyte, it now shows itself as well. It got that long number that came from it was auto-generated, or it came from the hardware, one or the other. But that came from the hardware, I know, because I didn't put that in there. I actually was going to go ahead and name it the same thing, because what I was planning, and what my ultimate plan will probably, what I'll probably still end up doing is leaving this drive in here and taking this drive out of its box because it's out of warranty and it won't matter anymore. And because it's acting up, it's not always mounting, and I think it's mostly because of that loose cable that I showed in my previous videos. Loose connector, not the cable, but the connector on the box. And I'm going to put it in a machine, maybe the Lenovo i5 or some machine, and put it off, make it the main drive of the machine. Either that, or I could end up putting them both into a desktop machine and making it a backup server. We'll see. Right now, though, I'm just going to have them both on here. And so I clicked on the one that's labeled Seagate expansion drive, and I want to back up the whole thing. So what did I just do? Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's the source, Run Media Don Seagate expansion drive. Destination will be, and I'll have to go through that whole thing again. But good, luckily you can type in here to find your, whoops. Don't type more than about 2 letters though. Okay, now I'm hitting enter. Okay, and typing and hitting enter. Okay, so now do not create an extra subdirectory. Yeah, I want to do that because otherwise everything would be inside of, I'm not quite sure what subdirectory. Oh, it would be a subdirectory probably with all those numbers on it. That's what it would be. Yeah, that's what it would be. And you don't want that. You want it to look like I want it to look like the directory structure. Most of the time that's what you're going to end up wanting. The directory structure that you copied from is the directory structure you want when you get to your backup. So I think I'll go ahead and give that a name while I'm thinking about it. There we go. 5T. I could call it something else. No, Seagate about. Yeah, let's just do it this way. I'm going to call it. They're both USB drives, but 5 terabyte Seagate expansion drive, since that's the name it has. To 8 terabyte USB. Can't type. That way you can read the whole title. Okay, now. And yeah, backup source inside destination. keep one. You can do more than one snapshot, but it will surely take up data fast. So I usually leave it on, always leave it on one. Now you can exclude things. I'm not. This is a backup drive that I'm backing up, so I'm not going to exclude anything. But if you're your operating system, you might want to exclude. For instance, well, especially Fedora doesn't do that anymore, but used to. Your drives that were mounted would be in the in your user folder. They would be mounted in, and I think some things still get mounted there, maybe like network drives and stuff. But these USB drives would be actually mounted in .gv. No, wait a minute. Maybe it was just network drives. Anyway, some things may get mounted in your home directory, like home.don.gvfs. And if you back up your home directory, it's gonna keep trying to back up. It's going to try to back up everything that's mounted in .gvfs, and it can turn into a loop and get huge too. So you might want to not do that. You might not want temporary folders. You know, you wouldn't. Well, I wouldn't want temporary folders, trash folders, cache folders, maybe not. You know, things like that. System mount folders. You don't have to worry about that. That I guess it's the one good thing about where they put run media. You can't. From your regular user, you can't get to run media to back it up. So, well, I mean, you can, like I'm doing right now, but you wouldn't get there if you were backing up home.don. That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay, include. Now, you can either do normal include, that's the default, which is what I'm going to do, or you can only include. Now, I did a bunch of that with my setup, my previous setups, but I'm not going to need to do that now. Remote, that's where you can do use remote connection. You can say that the destination is remote or the source is remote, but you have to set up, well, you can use the private key, the bottom one is what I'm going to do. I've done that before. I never quite understood exactly how you would set up, well, actually maybe I did, but rsync password file, I think it has to be a password file that's in the clear. It can't be encrypted or anything. So you're sending your password. If you're doing it over the network, well, if you're probably wouldn't be such a big deal on your home network. But anyway, I just remember that seemed harder, turned out to be harder, and I did this one. Although I had to learn how to do that one. But I've learned. I don't know the commands in my head, but I know this procedure pretty well in my head to make an SSH key, a private key, and a public key, and all that stuff. But anyway, it works like that. Used to, there was another option, and that it would ask for a login. Actually, I guess maybe I did this password file. No, I didn't ever do that. I remember it would ask for a login, like normal SFTP, and then you would set it up to give that password. Well, I don't think it even supports that anymore. But that's what I want to try to do with the phones, but not with this one right here. Don't need to. They're all both local to the machine. Now, here's where you got to really pay attention. Delete. It's defaulted. I don't know why they do that. They've always done that. It's defaulted to delete files on destination. You could destroy your backups if you ever leave that checked. Now say for instance, if you're backing up to a drive that already has files, which is what I do all the time. Now in this case, there was a few files on there that I wouldn't be worried about, but anyway, always check that. Probably your I always want to take that out. Delete files on destination 110% of the time. Now, preserving ownership doesn't even always work, and permissions, and it can be positive and negatives to doing that. Like if you're trying to make an exact backup of your system, and it's your Linux to Linux, that's fine. If you're backing up a Windows system or a Windows drive from your Linux system, you're going to have all kinds of confusion. They just don't know how to handle each other's file permissions. So, actually, how can I do this? Okay, so I'm going to go back up and just say, okay, originally I backed up from Linux system to an NTFS drive. And so I had to check destination is FAT32 or NTFS. And what happened was the defaults on the original, NTFS file format, file system on the Seagate 5 terabyte expansion drive, it just made all files world readable and writable, which was good because there was no problem, no access denied or any problems like that ever. And I had those kind of problems before, backing up Windows systems to my Linux, drives on my Linux system, or the other way around. I've fought with that for all the year, ever since 2005 when I started getting into Linux. I've had to fight with those file permission problems, and sometimes I would figure out some ways to get around it, and then I might forget them because I didn't have a problem for a while. So the backup, that's something to really pay attention to. Well, in this case, I'm going to be copying from an NTFS drive to an Ext4. This is the Ext4 is what I formatted, the new 8 terabyte drive, because, well, an NTFS file system broke at least 4 times, and I had to fix it. And that's really, I was able to fix it, but if I wasn't, then I would have lost on my backup. So NTFS has always been like that. It'll just break at the drop of a hat. And Ext4, I've said this lately in every video, I've only had it break once, and that was recently, and it was the Ext4 inside of the LVM on my Fedora 23 server. And that was because the power kept turning on and off from a thunderstorm one night. And it's a server, and it kept it kept turning itself back on, and the power kept going out. Turning itself back on, and the power kept going off. It was a desktop machine that I made into a server, but I had it set in the BIOS to turn back on after power loss, which is what you want, Anyway, so I'm not, long story long, I'm not going to preserve ownership and times. I want to preserve, that's the thing, I want to preserve times for sure. Let's see. Permissions. Preserve the owner, super user only. Oh, okay, well, preserve the owner, super user only, group and timestamp of the files. I'm going to leave it checked because I want to try to keep the timestamps. It just really screws things up. I like the timestamps to stay the same. I really depend on that to know how old things are and when I downloaded them and stuff like that. I think that'll work if you leave it. Now, permissions, in this particular case, I've figured out that in your backups, you really kind of want, it's really overall best to leave them world read and writable, unless you were making a backup that you wanted to use as a recovery to recover a whole operating system. I wouldn't do that with Linux. It's way easier just to install a new system and then you just copy your files over, You install a new system, run some install scripts to get your apps back, and then copy your files back. And you're going to end up with whatever user you're in. That's the file permissions you're going to have on your files anyway. So yeah, I don't know that this has a lot of effect either way. Preserve permission in this case. Thing is, what I'm wondering about is I'm copying from NTFS to a Linux drive, and I'm not sure. I think that could cause a problem. So I'm going to deselect that. And because it'll be done under the user. Well, no, it'll be done under the super. Oh yeah, it'll be done under. Even though it's done under super user lucky backup, the file permissions I think are still going to be done. I believe. If they're not, then I'll have to go in there and try to change them. If they're all super user permissions, then that's one reason why you might want to preserve permissions. Well, what'll happen is you'll just get an error saying it couldn't do it. I'm going to leave it on it because I definitely don't want it to all be given root user permissions. This is not one that I've done. This is not something I have done that I remember anyway. Preserving symlinks is not much help. It could be, I guess. Yeah, it could be because say I did want to copy a file that was a symlink back to my, like say I accidentally deleted one in home, a symlink file these are symlinks, all these shortcuts on your desktop, for instance, that's what they are. If I wanted to copy one back out of my backup, then I'd want it to point to the right place. Preserve device special files, copy device super user only, special files as they are. I'm going to leave that. Okay. Hard links, I don't really know. That probably would not be something that you would want on a backup situation. You notice they don't have it selected as default. Files that are hard linked together on the source, it went away. Well, hard linked together on the destination. Warning, all files have to be included, and that's the reason in the transfer set. So, and they're probably not going to be all included. The numeric group IDs, I don't want that. I think it would make it a lot slower too, probably. I can't, my eyes are getting blurry. I can't see that, to be honest. So I'm not going to try to read it. But again, don't delete files on destination. Always want a recursion to subdirectories. I mean, I do. Skip newer destination files. Leave that like that. Most of the time that works good. Do not back up source files that are newer on the destination. Well, it saves a lot of time, for one thing. And then I never have, if I looked it up, I don't ignore the files using a similar algorithm to CVS. I don't know quite what that does, so I've never tried to use it. I may have looked it up, but I don't remember right now. But anyway, yeah, this is I'm really having to think through this, kind of going in circles, it feels like, because I'm backing up a backup to a new backup, but it's a backup that was written from Linux to an NTFS drive, which changed the file permissions. Actually, luckily in this case, that's all that drive will do. That's all you can do on that NTFS system. That's the way it's set up. Is it's going to make them world readable and writable. You can try and do the preserve ownerships, but it won't work. So what I'm figuring is coming from NTFS to, Ext4, again, it won't. Should just end up being world readable and writable. That's why I'm going to go ahead and leave that like it is. Either way, I want it to be world readable and writable. So if it really does preserve the permissions, that's what I want. And if it can't do anything one way or the other, well, there is a possibility it could change it to the way Ext4 handles file permissions, and if it does, I'll have to deal with it. And if I wound up being root, it'll be a real pain, 2 terabytes of stuff that you'd have to try to change the file permissions on. But used to, I would just go into Crusader and right-click and say, well, you can still do that. That's not the thing that doesn't work anymore. You can just right-click and go to Properties and change. But when you try to do a whole bunch of files, I don't think if you do, like I've done 100 or 2 or whatever at times, and it can take 10 or 20 minutes and make the systems slow down. So it makes Crusader work hard for some reason, and so you might have to do it in the command line. Now that'd be tricky. I'd be scared. Well, as long as you got your original backup, I guess it'd be all right. But you could type the wrong thing and lose files and stuff. So yeah. There is and I will do this before I actually run it. And I'm not going to run it right now anyway, because I know it will slow my system down to a halt trying to make videos and everything. So I'm not going to do that right now anyway. But I'm kind of planning, I guess I'll try and let it run tonight, while I'm asleep. But I'll show that in a minute, the test run. Okay, so, and then also execute. Now, I've learned a little bit about this in the past, but I'm not going to do any of that. You can add, what do you add? Browse locally. Also execute. Oh, I guess, yeah, if you have a script you want to run or something. I've read about it before. Enter a command. Oh, you can enter a command in there. our add button to add it to the list below. Oh, okay. Well, I guess you enter a command. I don't guess you do. Well, yeah, you could go to a script file. I thought you could. Just wasn't responding. Okay, or you can put a command in here if you know how to do that sort of thing. And rsync, this is what it is a graphic user interface for rsync. So if you know how to run rsync, then you know in the command line, then you may know how to do that. I don't. I've never bothered to, and it's not something I need, and I don't like doing tricky things like this in the command line because you can destroy things, you know. So I don't do it that way. My eyes swap letters again and again. I'll say my eyes swap letters and numbers and everything else. So I'm just not good at that sort of thing. Okay, so validate down there. Now that'll say that half the time, and 3/4 of the time, and it may. And then when you try to run the test run, it tells you there's something wrong. So always run the test run. All declared fields seem to be okay. And see, there's the rsync commands right there that it made for rsync to run this. That's the command right there. And so, yeah, that's not something I can ever remember anyway. You can copy them to the clipboard and go run them if you want to, but if you got this nice UI, why would you do that? You know, I mean, not that I think that's a bad thing. I think it's kind of cool that it's there. But I don't usually put a description in there, but you could do that. I used to some, but when you make certain changes in the window, which I may do ever so often, it goes away. So I got tired of retyping it in there. Yeah, I'm not gonna click anything there because everything that's on that backup drive I want on the new backup drive. So just make sure I don't delete files on the destination, because the next time I run it, you know, maybe I decide to copy some things from another source onto that 8 terabyte drive, and I'd run this again, it would delete them. So you don't want to do that. And I don't want to ever do it on my backup drives, period. No matter what program I was using. Now, and the reason I like Lucky Backup is, let me go ahead and click OK. Let me get back over here to the, see, all this whole time I had moved around. It followed me around where I was at, and I got out of that window. The reason I like Lucky Backup is, well, let me go ahead and actually, let's deselect these, my normal everyday backups, and select that one. The little blue, they used to make a check mark, now it just turns blue, but you can see it good. Now we can do, go up here and click that little box and dry run, that's what they call it. Okay, so click run. And so now it'll be checking everything out. The reason I like Lucky Backup instead of the other backup programs, I like the way this one is. It somewhat can be complicated, but it all makes more sense to me than any other backup program I've ever used. That's the number one reason. But number two is, it by default, it doesn't, some of them can't do anything but zip the files into a tar.gz or some other kind of backup archive file. And then when you want to go back and get some files out of a certain folder, you have to unpack that thing. Well, anything, the biggest files I've ever had a system could even unpack without locking the whole system up was 2 gigabytes. And most of them, that's what they do. They cap them at 2 gigabytes. But 2 gigabytes can take 10 minutes to open the file up. And sometimes it would just flat lock up my system on my old dual core, the Red Black Battlestar. I haven't ever done it on this one, so I don't know. But what I used to do was, I mean, you would have to unpack them to look in there to see if it had the files you were looking for, to see if you wanted to do the, and most of them, the only thing they could do is restore that whole archive, that 2 gigabytes of archive. Well, I never wanted the whole archive. I just wanted a few files out of it. You know, that just usually was because I accidentally deleted something or something like that, or, well, whatever reason. And so this may take a while because it's 2 terabytes. I may have to abort it or something. I don't know. We'll see. But it's really fast to do this dry run, but I've never tried a dry run or done a backup on 2 terabytes of data ever. So I've done, you know, like, I don't know. I know I have backed up like 200 gigabytes and stuff before, but well, I don't know if I've actually, maybe I haven't. I've done a lot of duplicate file scans in 200 gigabytes and stuff like that, but I don't know if I've ever actually done a straight out backup of 200 gigabytes. But is it done? Or is it hung on big files? I think it's hung on big files. Not hung, but it's slowed down because it's, yeah, it's in simulation mode still. So, yeah, just some bigger files. Yeah, when you start getting to those videos, see, it tells you where it's at. See, now there's a bunch of cache. I've got really needless stuff, some of it, the cache files out of Firefox. And I guess I could have clicked don't do cache folders and stuff, but it's not 100%. You can click that box, don't do cache folders, but it may miss that that's what they are. Maybe it doesn't dig down that deep or whatever, I don't know, and it still backs them up anyway. I kind of think maybe I just forgot to do that when I set up the one to back up my home directories, you know. The original one that this is making a copy of a copy, you know. Or it's not doing it right now, but it's checking to see. The good thing about running the simulation is if you've made some big errors or small errors in your setup, you'll find out before you run a whole backup. Especially what if you forget to check that box about deleting files on destination or something. And if you're doing the real run, and then you know you're lost. You've lost whatever backups you know were on that drive. So I always do a dry run unless I'm being stupid when I make a new backup profile. But yeah, I like a Lucky Backup. Just it's going to take a good one. It's, you know, what's it on right now? Oh, it's not in any videos. It's still in the cache, unless that's a video it's going. I would really like not to have that cache folders backed up. See, I could go change that. I could tell it don't back up cache folders. Maybe it'll skip those. I may do that because those things, if you have, they've probably grown to like no telling what, because they're gonna. Okay, every day when I boot up, my machine gets backed up. Whatever cache is in the browser cache, like what we're looking at right here, gets backed up. Well, then tomorrow it does it again, but it's a new set of cache, you know, because the cache gets deleted every so often, you know, in your browser. So it's all stuff that's 99% of the time useless to you. It grows. I've had it. When I was backing it up before, when I either didn't think about what it might do or whatever, I didn't have as big a backup drives, and it, you know, it was filling them up, and so I had to go back and manually delete it. So I think I'm going to go back and take that out. As a matter of fact, since it's taking so long to get through that folder, maybe I should do it now. It hasn't been going very long. Let's see if it. Let's just do that. Let's just go back in there and edit that. Go back to advanced. Yeah. Exclude cache folders. Now temporary folders, what it calls temporary folders it's probably not something I would want. Look at there, that's what it's saying they are. Trash. There shouldn't really be any trash folders to, well, there is one. I think there's one trash folder on that 5 terabyte drive. Well, let's go ahead and look. I was fixing to I'll go to Crusader, and I was going to show you, I was talking about how come I like Lucky Backup. So I'll go to the 4.5 terabyte drive. Now see, everything is just, it does take up, you know, the same amount of space as it did originally, you know, so you got to have big enough drives, but yeah, I also have backups of more than one. What is that? Noble i5. Now, these are all the dot folders. I call them the dot folders because they have the dot in front of them. But see, there's Mozilla. That's where all that cache is coming from, or a bunch of it. So maybe we can just not back that up again. It may be getting backed up every day, and I forgot to ever do anything about it. But then some of these other, anyway, you can just get back whatever you want instantly. Not instantly. I clicked on that folder and it didn't go in there. Now downloaded videos folder. Anyway, you can access your files the way I want to be able to access them. I don't want them zipped. I found that out over the years. And then, but I was saying I have some backups of different machines on here. That's the ones you would be losing if you. I call them. I put the word, the name on backup so and so, backup this, backup that, and I may have backed them up with Crusader. I may have backed them up with Lucky Backup or whatever. But and it was been one nice thing about using a USB drive. I can plug that into any machine I want, that anything with a USB, and back it up. Even the 10-inch tablet, I couldn't get all the files on it. It wouldn't let me. But my phones, I can't plug. Let's see, can I? I don't think the phones will recognize it or something. I don't think that my phone's the Android is too old to. It doesn't support OTG, and I think it can't do that. But because that's why I end up taking the SD cards out and putting them into this machine or whatever machine. Or if it's not a lot of data, not big files, but my videos tend to be 2 to 3.5 gigabytes. I tried the other day and it just locked up after a while. It didn't finish. But then I remembered, I think I've done it with FileZilla, and then I was showing my profiles. My profiles for the Lucky Backup is I set those up when I had the SD card plugged into the machine, the SD card in a USB adapter. But that's a pain taking those in and out of there since I use these phones for cameras every day to make videos lately. So I think I'll try setting it up where I can do it remotely with Lucky Backup because it's fast and a lot easier and less likely for me to make a big mistake too than trying to do it manually with FileZilla. Anyway, there's no telling how much cache I got in there. Oh, trash, recycle bin. Yeah, there is a recycle bin, so that would be trash. But look what's in there, desktop INI, and I think that was there when I got the drive. I don't think that was a file I deleted. I guess when I delete stuff, I generally don't delete it to trash. I generally make it delete forever. So that's why I don't have a lot of stuff in trash on anything. And I don't know. I don't know when these drives decide to put something in their own trash and when they decide to put it in the system that you're using. Not quite sure how that works. I've observed that it does one way or the other at times. But yeah, this one has the auto run INF because it's NTFS. It has the hidden Windows partition and all that on it still. See, like right there, it has start win here execute. So that would. I don't know, the auto run INF runs first, I know that, and then I guess it runs that start win execute too. Start here, win, execute. I guess I've never put it in a Windows machine, so I don't think I have. Ever? I probably didn't. I've had it for 2 years, but it's probably about how long I've been not really using Windows at all. So other than that little XP partition I have. So in this one, I don't need trash. I don't know if that'll make any difference, or not. Lost and found. Sometimes you have that, sometimes you don't. But temporary folders, yes and no on those. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave that as is, because like I said, this is if my backup was backed up cleanly without any cache and temp folders, then it wouldn't even, like earlier, I was really not considering it so much, but now I am because I saw all those cache folders. Let's see, where's the other? I want to make sure. Oh yeah, okay, so that's all good there. I'm going to leave it like that, and I'll hit validate again. It still looks good. So, okay. Now, let's try the dry run. It still clicked on dry run, so let's try the dry run again. It is on dry run, isn't it? Why is it red? Red usually means an error. Unless, yeah, it was blued out. It was trial run, dry run. It wasn't the real thing. It sure is going faster, isn't it? Well, I don't know why. Yeah, it's in simulation mode right there, bottom right. But it sure is going faster. But it's going, yeah, okay, the laptop. Well, I don't understand. I don't understand why everything's all in red now. It was all in black a while ago. I wonder if that just happened just because I clicked on those options to skip certain folders or something. Once it got down here in the bottom, I do like how it shows you what's going on too. Even when you're doing a real backup, it can be quite helpful, you know. Yeah, well, see, there's probably no telling how much cache folders and stuff there are in some of these system backups that I have in there too. So that's going to save some space. Just because you got big drives don't mean you got space to waste. It says deleting files. Backup Lenovo. Why is it saying deleting files? Have I messed something up? It says deleting files, backup Lenovo i5, Fedora 23, Mozilla. Oh, I wonder if because I ran the simulation once and it had, oh, that's not cache there. Mozilla Firefox. Yeah, my sync places, that is I used to use that an add-on for Firefox. But it says deleting files. This is a simulation, so, and it scared me for a minute because I thought, is it deleting stuff off of my original backup? But no, that's not what we're doing, and you wouldn't have to worry about that happening. What you would have to worry about is if you already had important data on your destination drive. You can really screw up with Lucky Backup. That is one thing to watch out for. You can screw up, and you can be very sorry. You do have to really pay attention with the settings. The one thing, like I've kept saying over and over, is delete files on destination. That's the number one thing that you got to watch out for. I can't think of any other thing that can actually, you know, delete files on you and screw things up. You used to have problems where you won't back up what you want to back up or something, but that one thing will. Well, the syncing, if you're using the sync option, that's where you would be deleting files too. That's basically kind of like delete files on the destination. Well, now delete files on the destination, I think, basically deletes everything but what you're copying. Yeah, it does. And then sync, well, sync's the same thing. It makes a mirror. You know, it turns your backup into a mirror of what you're backing up. So you don't want to use that sync. Unless my mouse slipped. Now that's why I'm wondering, why is it saying deleting files? Unless my mouse slipped and I selected something I didn't mean to select. This being as long as it is, I don't know that I'll ever get to the end of the simulation without... Heck, I don't know how long it could possibly take, you know. Now where is it? It kind of slowed down there. Well, not for too long, though. That's in the backup Lenovo i5 folder. I think it goes in alphabetical order, I think. Which is fine. That makes it easy to follow, you know. But yeah, even look at all those folders that you don't know you have, you know. There's the backing up there. But yeah, I organized my original backup to the 5 terabyte drive so that I didn't have a whole bunch of dot folders mixed in with my documents and videos and all that. I used to do it that way, and it made it, well, it makes it hard to find things. Not real hard, but kind of hard. But the real important thing was I didn't want to end up with Fedora 23, homed on to Fedora 23 in there, and then when I upgraded to Fedora 28, I didn't want it mixed. I didn't want it mixed with the old Fedora 23 homed on folders, you know, dot. I had ran into that before. You know, you keep your backups. You plan on keeping them forever. And so I kept them long enough years that I ended up going, oh, how am I going to organize that? Oh, well, you know, and so I end up mixing, you know, newer distros with older distros. So then if you ever really did want to try to restore any of your home directory application folders and stuff, they would be messed up. You know, they'd be mixed between old and new versions. So that's when I realized, okay, I have a folder for backup for Lenovo i5 Fedora 23, a folder for backup Lenovo i5 Fedora 28, and any home, you know, I just call them dot folders that I wanted, system folders that I wanted backed up, be in the right one. Made it more complicated to set up the profiles, but once I got them done, you know, it works great. And then just regular folders like documents, videos, and so and so. So and so, I had them go to the root of the backup drive. It's easy to get to them, look through them. So it turned out being more organized that way. But now that you're watching the simulation of the backups, you can see where they're coming from. And you see, right, I'm seeing right quick, oh, wow, I forgot how different folders are coming and going to, and how the depth of them and the different folders you don't remember is in places. Now it's in documents. It's going pretty darn fast. I mean, it wouldn't back up that fast. It's got to write all the files, but just to check in the simulation. Yeah, it's finally beginning to show a blue line up there. Just the nice thing about rsync, you know, or Lucky Backup runs, you know, just like I said, a graphic user interface for rsync. Rsync is fast, and I've never had it like overwrite things and screw things up. At least I've never noticed it. The one thing that makes me kind of wonder is, you know, like the box where you check skip newer files. There's times when a file can show up to be newer, but it's actually not the newest version. There can be times when that would happen when dates get set wrong, you know. And like say the dates are, well, say if the date on the computer you did it on was not set right or something. I'm trying to think of, there's been different instances. Well, the biggest one is when you copy a file, be a regular FTP, it gives it the date, the time and date that you did that copy, not the creation date. And then you turn around and decide to back that file up within, well, maybe say the same day. I can't even, I'm just tired today. I can't wrap my head around how to explain this stuff. But anyway, it happens that will cause you to overwrite a newer version of a file sometimes. When I don't know, I can't even explain it. Probably not making any sense whatsoever. Sitting there watching that stuff go by fast is probably confusing me even more. I really can't hardly stand to do that, but I was interested in what was going on, but it makes my eyes are already tired, and then it makes my eyes I just don't understand. I think the reason it's saying deleting files is because I ran that simulation for a good while. But why would it say deleting files? I hate to stop it because it's running along so good, and I know it's just simulation. I'm not losing anything, but it may be because it ran through. Oh, there is one. Okay, now there is one. I'm trying to think about how does all this work. You would be deleting files if the file Yeah, I guess that is. I guess maybe it does do that. Like I say, you got a newer version, and the file's already there, you know, and you got a newer version, then it would delete the older one and then write the newer one, I guess, instead of trying to overwrite the file, because I think it does do that, because I think it's a lot slower to overwrite a file than it would be to delete it and write the new version. I think that's what it does. Because I do know that it can be, I remember watching, I've always done a lot of manual syncing ever since when I was, you know, doing Windows. I'd use Total Commander. Total Commander is way better than Windows Explorer for sure. And Crusader is it's good, but not as good as rsync, you know, looking back up, or and it's not as fast as, not near as fast as FileZilla either. FileZilla just doesn't work the same, and I get messed up in it still. I'm using it more, and I'm beginning to get a little more used to it, but just when I think I'm doing good, I forget and mess something up, and then you mess up a whole bunch of files, you know. But it just keeps on saying deleting files, and it's going so fast you can't really roll down and see any more than what you see right there. But source, run, media, Seagate extension, drive, destination, that's all good. Nothing, I didn't screw, you know, I do have slips of the mouse finger sometimes and change something I didn't mean to change. That's why I'm sitting there wondering. And I don't remember seeing that. Well, for one thing, earlier, this was all black up here. And I don't remember even seeing a bunch of stuff down here a while ago. I'm wondering if what it sees as cache files is stuff that's not really cache files. And it may not be what I want to do, you know. But maybe, I guess it's these are red because it's doing deleting down here. That's going to be my guess. And now that I think about it, the red up there, that's how it normally does look on a normal everyday backup. So I guess what I should have been wondering is, why was it black the first time? I did kind of, but I didn't. I don't know if I said it out loud, but I kind of wondered it. But I was like, I don't know. You know, maybe I just forgot. But I can't watch that anymore, that's for sure. The simulation is really rolling fast. Well, it always does, but it seems to me like it's rolling faster than normal. Maybe because it's running one drive to another drive, no live operating system to slow it down. Maybe. Normally, I'm backing up my, home directory in an active operating system, a live running operating system. Well, for one thing, these, whatever videos I've made, if I've made videos, and lately I've been doing it every day, they're being backed up. Of course, they're not active, but what I'm talking about is the home folder, the folders, the dot folders. That's those, and those temporary folders, cache folders in your web browser. I mean, it may be running while I'm surfing the internet. It works. I'm not quite sure how it does handle it, but I'm not quite sure how it handles it. But so if you're surfing the internet and cache files might be getting deleted while you're backing up, that'd be one reason why not to back them up. Another reason why not to back them up. I mean, you don't need them. I've even used to years ago mess around with looking at my cache folders, files, and seeing what was in there. And it was kind of interesting to see all the images and pieces of videos that got saved in your cache. You'd be surprised what all's in there. Used to be pretty easy to do that. I don't know if you can still do it. I haven't done it in a long time. I don't know how easy you can still do that, but that's my websites backups. That is about 10 gigabytes all on its own last time I checked, or almost 10 gigabytes. So it's actually, I can't believe it. This is the first day that I'm feeling a little cool with the window open in a week, and that's with a laptop and 2 desktops running. And I guess the reason is because it's 59. I'm just looking up. The temperature is 59 now. It was 65 or so. Maybe it was even warmer than that in the, like 2 or 3 o'clock. I didn't pay any attention. So the heater's not running. Nobody's cold in there, not running the heck out of that heater. So they've been running that heater so much lately that it was 80.5 degrees in here every day, all afternoon, just killing me. And even, the other day, I didn't want to open the window too much. It was real windy and all that, and I kept thinking it'll cool off in a little bit, and middle of my videos and everything. Today, I started out, I just thought, okay, I looked at the temperature in here, and I thought, I don't want to be hot again, so I opened that window all the way, and it's been open all the way all day. So just now I'm beginning to cool off. It's 6:18 now. I didn't get up. Finally, I slept a regular time, but when did I go to bed? I don't know when I went to bed, but I got up at about 8:30 this morning. And I've been getting up at 2 in the morning and 3 in the morning for this last week. So, but now, if I don't watch out, I'll be up till 11 or 12 and screw everything up. So, and it's going to be Christmas in 2 days, so I don't want to screw everything up and be sleeping in the daytime on Christmas Day. So, I better start thinking about. I was wanting to get started on the. I think as tired as I am, and my eyes are so tired I can't hardly see. I guess I won't try to do. That's pretty tricky, and I may have to look on the Lucky Backup website at the instructions to set up that. Set it up for the remote backup stuff, over SSH. So I guess I'm not going to do that this evening. I didn't realize what time it was till just now. No wonder I'm tired and everything. So I didn't. It took me a long time to get to. A lot longer than I expected to get into doing work today, but at least I got a little something done. Yeah, this is just going to roll and roll. That's going to happen. I guess I'm going to let it roll. I do remember seeing this at the bottom before deleting files, and I thought there's something wrong, and it turned out there wasn't. What? I don't understand why it's saying that, though. It looks like maybe it's writing like a small segment of these files. It's like doing a real test, not just but it's saying deleting files, and I can kind of see it's going really fast, but pictures, desktop, backgrounds, and I don't see that up there right now, but I can't make it. I'm rolling my mouse wheel and it brings it up, but it fights it, as soon as the next thing happens. But yeah, it's not in. See, it's not. It's in 76 Blazor. Yeah, those are pictures. When I was making videos of working on, I was showing that in the previous video yesterday. I was talking about this. These are all the still shots that I took with automatically with the webcam. I had a webcam taking still shots by motion. Sensing motion and taking still shots while I was making the video. And I planned on editing all together and using those still shots for like close-up views and stuff, or just still views so you could see what was going on. But I worked on the truck for like 2 weeks, and that was enough work. And making the videos and working on the truck, made it take so long. And, oh yeah, you can't see what I'm talking about. Well, it's gone by there now anyway. So, I do that every time I forget. Let me run over there and shut the window because I'm getting cold, and then I'll decide to finish up. So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it feels good to be chilly. I don't want to stay that way, but it feels good. So I gotta have a little bite. Hershey's nugget. See where it's at now. Yeah, see, there's a video. It's in a folder that I didn't know I had videos in. Oh, the tablet. Okay. That's the no Wi-Fi that I'm using to stream from, and I made videos with the 10-inch tablet about installing something on it. Went away now. Of course, it wasn't really copying those videos. It was, I don't know how the simulation works. I've never bothered to learn. Now the deleting has stopped moving, but it's still showing like it was in those snapshots I was talking about that I thought I was showing and I wasn't. But yeah, down there at the bottom. Oh, it's back in that folder again. So this is what I was talking about a while ago. Or it's in another folder, maybe. But I had the one webcam taking snapshots by motion, you know, every time whenever I moved around or in something or anything, but mostly it was going to be me. It would take snapshots, and that way it wasn't taking them when I was gone. Like I'd have to go back into the garage to get a tool or something like that, and it wouldn't be still taking them. But the video was running all the time, and it was too hard to move the camera around. I showed it yesterday in the previous video, but I had two desktops stacked on top of each other, on top of my little rolling work table that I have in here now that I use in here all the time. Well, that's where I took it outside to use it. Anyway, monitor, two desktops, speakers, keyboard, everything on that little work table, and a tripod on top of the monitor. I was using see, I started out using duct tape, but it was hot. It was summer and it was hot outside, and the duct tape started letting go. So I figured I used this Velcro. It stuck and stayed better. Velcro with a gluey, sticky thing on one side and Velcro on the other. So I stuck it up there with that, and I kept the keyboard on that table with the Velcro. I just left them on there in case I wanted to use them, but I never have. I've still got two pieces of Velcro on that table. And I guess there's a keyboard somewhere with Velcro on the bottom side of it too that matches it. I don't remember which keyboard it was now. But that was all I had for cameras, so that's how I made that video, working on the Blazer, replacing the front wheel bearings and working on the tailgate, the window cranking inside the tailgate for about 2 weeks, I think it was. Maybe it was a week. I don't know now. But thinking about everything I did, well, with making videos, it made it take. I mean, normally, especially when I was younger, this wasn't 2008. I was younger, but back before that, 10 or 15 years before that, I could change the wheel bearings in that thing in, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours. I don't think it took 4 hours. Definitely wasn't like 1 hour or anything. What is this? Sent. Oh, okay. Oh, rsync error. Oh, it's done with the simulation. 10 errors. Okay. Well, no files transferred. Elapsed time. Didn't seem like 23 minutes to me. 10 errors. So this is one real good thing about doing it, and here's some of the errors right here. Some files attributes were not transferred. Yeah. Previous errors, code 23 at main, so and so, so and so. So that's always happens about file attributes. Okay, number of files transferred. I can't read that number. That's a big number. 169,556. Is that 1,169,556? I guess so. I've never had enough money to know anything over the to even think about anything over, you know, a cost of a house or something, a regular house, you know, which would be like 100. I never even bothered to allow myself to think in a $500,000 house market. 100 and 150,000 used to be a nice big house. Yeah, I know, not anymore. Used to be a really fancy house back when I was last time I bought anything. But and then number of created files, same amount. I guess that's directories. I never looked at that part I didn't even remember that this right here showed up. And usually I just look at the errors and stuff. Number of regular files. Okay, size total 2.3 terabytes. That's about what I expected. File list size 767 megabytes. And okay. Very good. Now, to see some more, there's 10 errors, so what you can do is, that's little, I don't know. You go through there, and what I don't understand, though, the errors are always red. That's how you see them. But it's all red this time. I don't know why it went red like that. Normally, it's all black. Yeah, normally it's all black text, and you can see the error. Well, maybe that's in a real run. I don't know. I've done it in the dry run 1,000 times. Oh, it doesn't have everything in it. Normally you can go through everything that it just showed, you know. Well, I don't know what the 10 errors are now. Normally you can page back up and find, you have to find them. Maybe I haven't realized that you could find out what the error. Well, I don't see anything that tells you what the errors are right in here. But usually, I mean, there are times when the errors are a big deal and you want to try to fix that, but usually they're not something that's a real big deal. Something's gone different, though. That's why I do not understand. Most of all, I don't know why this is red instead of black with. That's more than 10. You know, if that's not the errors, that looks like just the tail end of what it was doing to me. So I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to go done. Now, I'm going to go back into modify that again and see if I see anything. It looks like I might have changed something I didn't want to. Oh yeah, skip cache folder, skip trash. Now I can always, you know, if it looks like I'm missing something, I'll have to do, it's hard to do a manual check though, you know, in that many files. But if it looks like it skipped things that I really wanted to keep, that's why I didn't do temporary, because some files show up to be temporary files, well, temporary folders, yeah. It's not going to really know. I mean, well, it's only going to know if they're. Now there's some TMP. See, I never seen it. Now that's something I don't understand what they're meaning by that. I never seen a folder with 2 asterisks. Period. asterisk 2 forward slash asterisk TMP. Well, now that means TMP. Now most temporary folders are not TMP. They're well, maybe some of them are, but usually they're TEMP, like in Windows and stuff. So it's not all that useful. So I don't use that one. Now cache and okay, lowercase cache and uppercase cache. Oh, okay. Dot dot means any folder, any previous folder. Yeah, not dot dot. Asterisk asterisk. So it's any previous folder. Now I'm understanding it. Any previous folder. That's wildcards, you know. Any previous folder, anything before cache, anything after cache, so and so and so. But it had to specify lowercase and uppercase. And then trash. Folder named trash. Okay, now temporary folders, anything named TMP. You know, I probably don't want anything named TMP. I can't think of anything that I would. I might, I don't know. Cache, I know I don't really want. Trash, I don't want. I'm going to leave temporary unselected because never know. These others, main thing is you're trying to back things up. So, and this is a backup that I had forgotten, ended up with a bunch of cache folders in it because I think when I originally set up my profiles, I forgot to, deselect, to do this. I forgot to do this. So it doesn't always work because not all cache folders and trash folders are named the same. So it's only going to be the ones that are named trash or trash, big trash or little trash, big cache or little cache, and then big TMP and that's it. Little TMP or that is it, period. You might be able to, well, I suppose you might be able to put that in the command options. No, I don't think so. And it doesn't look like you can do a custom exclude. You can do custom stuff in a lot of this stuff. But, well, you can always just do only include. That's what I've done. I do a lot. Remote. I'm too tired to go on and try to do that. I wanted to do that this evening, but I'm too tired, and it is getting late. I'm getting pretty hungry. I need to eat supper. By the time I eat supper, it'll be time for me to go to bed. Okay, so let's do this part again. Yeah, well, especially in this case, there are no newer destination files. There's not hardly anything. There is something on there, but not much. So you could do the attempt super user activities. This tells receiving side to attempt super user activities, even if the receiving rsync wasn't run by super user. These activities include preserving. Okay, users via the owner option, preserving all groups, not just the current. That could be something I would want, not just the current user groups via the groups add-on, and copying devices via the device option. Actually, I'm going to turn that on. I don't think it would make so much difference in this case because I'm copying from that NTFS backup to the Ext4, but if it's a Windows thing, it's just going to ignore it. It's not. It's just like if it was the other way around. But if any of those kind of things were preserved in there, from what I'm just read off there, then it'll keep them. So now, normally I'm always back. I used to, before I got these backup drives, I was backing it from a Linux partition to a Linux formatted. Like Ext3 is what I was in my other machine. My backup drives were Ext3. So I was backing up from, in Fedora 14 it would have been Ext4 to Ext3, or it might, in another operating system, it might have been Ext3 to Ext3. So then all that really matters. All this really mattered then. So, and you could mess things up if you didn't set it right. Okay, I'm going to hit validate again. Okay, now I'm going to say okay. Now, how am I going to do this? This one is going to have to be run manually. Well, actually, no. Here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do this evening. I'm going to hit save on there, so it's all like that. The top two are the ones I always, run every day automatically. And so what can happen here is I think these two will run first. And that's what I really hope happens, since they're at the top of the list here. And I think you can actually move them up and down the list, can't you? Yeah, you can. I'm going to do that. I'm going to move those up there. Now, hit that again. So, yeah, I believe they run in order of the way they're set in there. And so these are run to the 5 terabyte drive, and then the 5 terabyte drive will be backed up to the 8 terabyte drive. And I'll just leave it like that. And so I'll be getting my double backups as long as I have it set up this way. And if something doesn't go quite according to plan, then as long as it doesn't delete anything over here in my original backups, I'll be fine. I'll just have to work on the other one. So just make sure delete files on destination. Make sure I am not doing sync. So I'm good. I'm going to hit cancel because I didn't do any changes there. Okay. So I believe that's set up the way I want it. I think it's going to work. Looks like it's going to work. I won't know until I really do it. So what I'm planning on doing, I believe, is I don't know. I don't want to get. It's not going to be a real cold night. Well, since it's not a cold night, it may actually not be so hot in here because the heater makes it hot in here. Yeah. So, because boy, if I run, see, I have to leave the red black BIOS still running. It's my server, and this morning I woke up hot from that thing running in here, you know, and the heater running and all that. But if it's not, when I get ready to go to bed, what I may do is probably reboot the Lenovo i5 instead of turning it off like I usually do, and let it run and do its backups. And I figure, I don't know, maybe it won't take all night. Well, it may take all night, but then the first time. Then after that, it will probably only take maybe double, you know, instead of 10 minutes, it'll take 20 minutes to do the backups. Maybe not even that long. I don't think they won't run all at once. I'm pretty sure they won't try to all run at the same time. If they do, this won't end up being, I'll have to start running this one manually ever so often because this needs to be backed up first and then backed up from this to this. I've never done this before, never had two big backup drives, so we'll see how that goes. But that's how I use Lucky Backup. And now these phone backups, that's a whole nother thing, you know. Well, like I said, I have been just manually sticking the SD cards in the USB adapter one at a time, and then turn, you know, select. Well, it depends. Let's see. Oh, internal, external. You know what? Maybe I have now. The only way I could back up the internal is if I had the phone plugged into the computer via USB. Maybe you can't. It's been so long since I've done it, I can't remember. I was thinking that the phones didn't support that, but maybe they do, or why else would I have made those profiles? Unless I just wanted to try it and then it didn't work. I wouldn't have made all those profiles if it didn't work. So I must have forgotten that was something I used to do and could do, is plug the phones in. I do know if that works, yeah, I know what you have to do. You have to turn on developer options in the phone. It's Android 4.1 or 2 or something is what it is. Turn on developer options, and then I think when you plug the USB into the computer, it will recognize all drives, you know, on it. If you don't, all you'll see is the folders with the pictures. And I'm going to take that back. All you will see is the folder with the ISO in it to make it mount up in Windows. That's all you'll see. But if you turn on developer options, then it will let you see the drives. And so I didn't like leaving those on all the time because, you know, it leaves a danger to jacking up your phone, especially since I run things like SSH Droid and stuff. I didn't want to. Well, I mean, there's nobody around here but me that does things like this, so nobody on our local network. But I could jack things up on accident, you know. But well, you do never know when your Wi-Fi reaches out to the street and to the neighbors. You never know when somebody might happen along that, some curious George that has some skills that might get in there and jack up your. Hey, look at that! Oh, let's mess with it. So that had to break, make into your network first to get to your things on your local network, but you never know. So anyway, I try to be safe. I left them in that mode for long periods of time, and then I don't remember. I do remember the phone saying, "Hey, your phone's in." I think it pops up sometimes saying your phone's in. When you do something, pop up and say your phone's in developer mode. This can be dangerous. Do you want to leave it like that? Stuff like that. But anyway, there's other things besides copying and deleting files that can be done when the developer mode's on. I can't remember now. I haven't since all I really use them for the last year or more is I used to play with them more. I guess with the apps and stuff on there, but I don't. Last year at least, I just turn them on and use the cameras and then turn them off. That's mostly all I do. Except for phone 3, I turn it on to use it as a lapel mic and then turn it off. So anyway, yeah, we're all saved. And the cron job. Oh, let's go ahead and make sure that the addition to the cron job is there. I don't know if that's necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, I don't think it would be. It wouldn't be. All you would really have to do is just save that, and then it runs whatever you got set. But I'm going to review the current cron tab. We'll just say, we'll do a screenshot of that. And when it decides to make the screenshot. Okay. See, at reboot, sleep 6,000 seconds. I guess that's 10 minutes. That's what I'm guessing. Since it's 6,100, I'm sorry, must be 10 minutes. Well, I know it's set for 10 minutes. Yeah, lucky backup entries, at reboot, sleep for 600 seconds, I believe. And because I know it ain't 600 minutes. User bin lucky backup, C, no question, skip critical, root lucky backup, profiles default done. Yeah, root user lucky backup, profiles default done. Okay, runs that profile. Yeah, so see, I wouldn't have had to re-cron this. Root lucky backup logs default done. Last cron log and leaves a log and lucky backup. It's pretty simple. If you knew how to remember how to write those commands, you could do it. Now, there's one thing I have seen happen before, and that's that your cron job, even though it shows to be in here, it doesn't run after you've been doing a bunch of editing sometimes. So I'm going to hit cron it. Okay. Super user, your cron tab is updated successfully. Okay. Now, I was really worried. I'm going to close that. At one point that running this as super user would cause all the files that were copied to have super user privileges and make it almost impossible to use them anywhere except for as super user. But they end up with my original user owner Don, with its privileges. Except for when you copied the NTFS, it was world readable and writable. It still said user Don though. So it didn't complicate things, so it should be fine. And like I said, a lot of those backups on there though have been copied from other machines to that drive using various things, Crusader File Sync, maybe FileZilla even, and others. And sometimes I went to the trouble to set up lucky backup profiles. I don't know if there's any. I'm going to close this now. I don't know if there's any. Didn't pay a lot of attention when I was in there before. I'll look and see if there's any Windows machines backed up on there. But there may be. Yeah, Windows 7 64-bit. That was probably what I was going to say. That was probably still done with Lucky Backup. I'm sure it was almost, because of Lucky Backup runs on Windows, and I've been using it on Windows for years. So, UFIC, Fedora 22. That's my Pt7 machine, first machine I ever built from a kit. First machine I ever built in any way. L1525 laptop. That's probably Linux system. Yeah, that's a Linux. I can tell right away that's Linux because it has the dot folders. See, I just put it all together. That's what I was talking about. So I just said, you know, home Don backup, home Don to this folder, and it got everything, that the system folders and the documents and everything. Now the only thing bad about that is, I think I have documents in there. Yeah. The only thing bad about that is if I'm looking for them, I may never find them, and I've also probably got duplicates. You know, I don't know why I did that way, because what I've been trying to do, probably because it took so long to try to set it up multiple, you know, put this one here, put that one there, probably because it just takes too long to set it up. But what I've been tried to do from the beginning of this is keep documents and documents, no matter, as long as they were my documents. I do have backups of my mom's stuff somewhere, maybe, I think, yeah, right here. I tried to put all of her stuff in her folders, and that's her tablet that I bought for her. And so she's got a few folders in here. And yeah, see, this is going to be a lot of folders. That's her Fedora 14 system, I think. I did it two ways. I did it with FileZilla, and I think I did it with Lucky Backup there, probably. And but then so I wanted them separated for sure, but everything that was my files, I really tried to, looks like I didn't always do it. IBM, that's the server. See, that's nothing but my websites, though. And then the Fedora 23, I think maybe it does not have documents. Yeah, it does too. So see, I've got things all spread. I accidentally started and then I quit. So it doesn't have much in there. And I guess I didn't delete them. I was just scared of I thought, well, I better do a duplicate file search, because I couldn't do that manually. My brain can't do it. Now there's Fedora 28, which is what I'm running now. And all I have in there is just the dot folders. That's what I was talking about earlier. What's this? Oh, a backup Seagate 8TB USB drive. I should probably put something else on there like files, but that's what it is. It's this is Clonezilla images of it, but that was before I put any files on there. Yeah, so that was in case I wanted to try to bring it back to factory, you know, with the NTFS. I want to make sure that hidden partition, you got to use some sort of imaging program like Clonezilla, or else you won't get it back. And actually, I tried to do them both. There was two partitions, the hidden partition and the main partition, and it ran, but it had errors. So I did it again with just this first partition, and then where's the somewhere I copied the base files and saved them. Oh, there they are, main partition files. That's all there was on it, you know. So you could just make, I'm pretty sure you could just make you know, you could restore the hidden partition with Clonezilla, and then that'll make that first part, it's not very big, you know, make that the size it's supposed to be and everything, and then make the rest of it formatted NTFS with gparted or whatever, and then just copy these files over, and you should be back to normal. I'm not 100% sure because I've never done it. Not with one of these drives, but I've done it with other drives a lot. So what I finally realized, and I actually meant to do all this again once I realized it, I was using an older version of Clonezilla because I was using Parted Magic 2013 is the last one they had open source, and I should have went ahead. I did it the other day, and I looked at it today. I downloaded the newest version. There's actually a Clonezilla live ISO image I downloaded, and it's just a little live system that you could boot to, and all you got is Clonezilla and a few little other things in there. But actually, no. What I downloaded the other day was gparted, but you can do that. I didn't do it yet. I still didn't do it. You can get Clonezilla live, and it's got Clonezilla and maybe a couple other apps in there. I'm not sure what else is in there. I don't remember. That's what I should have done, was downloaded the newest Clonezilla, and then maybe it would have handled the NTFS partitions properly, because it didn't have, it did the smaller one it did fine, the bigger one it didn't handle it right, and it said something in the error message about this version of, it was basically, I figured out it was too old of a version of part clone, and it couldn't handle the large size. And even though there was no data in there, it said something about copying it, like not byte for byte, but what I can't remember the word they used. Something like not byte for byte. That's a whole other thing. Sector by sector or something. I don't remember now. Anyway, I think I'm good. If I really don't plan to ever go back to the original NTFS, because I've had too many scares with it breaking on the 5 terabyte drive, and I've had it break many times. NTFS break many times in Windows operating systems. Every one I've had is broken at least a couple of times, and usually all you have to do is run check disk and fix. Run check disk fix, and then it fixes it. But I have had a couple of times on other machines that were older that that were given to me that I was playing with, that it broken, and I couldn't fix it. I mean, well, if you can't fix it with check disk, you can usually bring back the partitions with test disk, a Linux program that will bring back lost partitions, not hidden, lost partitions and stuff. But I've had good success with that over the years, but not always. Sometimes it's damaged too badly and you can't get it back. But so anyway, all these backups. What's this? Oh, and that's this 5 terabyte. At the time, I had only one drive, so I just named it Seagate Expansion Drive. And all I did was just save those files. I don't think I ever looked into it to realize I didn't know. Actually, I remember being surprised when I was looking over getting ready to do Clonezilla on the 8 terabyte drive. I didn't realize it was a hidden partition. If I ever found it out on the other one, I didn't try to back it up or anything. So I don't remember now. So anyway, yeah, documents, downloads, and so on. Some of those things are on the root directory of the backup drive, videos, and VirtualBox VMs, which I have. Well, they just automatically get backed up from this system into it, but there's older ones in there. So I have a couple of different versions, I think, of WinXP. Well, some of them, no, those are just kilobytes. Some of them are the actual. Yeah, that one, see, 8.9 gigabytes. These others, yeah, there's no big files in there. I made sure I didn't save unnecessary big files, but that's the actual image, the VDI. That's the actual virtual machine. It's 8.9 gigabytes, and there. Oh, I got it. I got a folder for when I resized it, but I don't have anything in there. I tried it a couple times and it never did end up working out right. Now here's some more. These are my Linux test ones. See, they're not. Oh, that's a video. Why is there a video in there? Yeah, none of those are big. And test box, none of those are big either. Anyway, I don't know why I'm going over what's in my folders right now, but that's what I'm going to be. Hopefully it will automatically back up to here, and then this will automatically back up to the 8 terabyte drive after that, and I'll keep it like that until I decide, so that when I decide to take this 5 terabyte drive out of the loop and take it out of its box and put it in a machine, maybe the Lenovo i5 as its regular hard drive, I'll already have everything backed up to the 8 terabyte drive. Starting to burp and belch. Okay, so sometimes I get a little nervous when that file, as soon as it gets up to, as soon as it gets to about a gigabyte, it starts moving really slow, and you don't see the counter moving. So I think, oh no, it's froze up, but it usually doesn't. So it's been a while since that happened. It has happened, but Anyway, that's actually got something done. That's good. Um, one more thing on my big list of to-dos. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna go now, and hopefully I'll be able to get in there and get me some supper now. And let's see. Yeah, today's Saturday, then Sunday, and then of course Monday's the 24th and Tuesday's the 25th. Imagine tomorrow I'll do some more work, and then after that maybe I'll try and we'll see. I mean, if I get too bored, I'm not just gonna sit around, but we'll see. I'm actually today I was tired and kind of not really in the mood to do it, but I wanted to get stuff done, so I made myself go ahead and do it. But it's usually good to take a day off when you get feeling that way too, because I just do it every day. I don't 7 days a week for a month. I think I've been doing it 7 days a week for at least a month now, and so I think I'm getting a little tired of working every day. Nothing says I have to, so other than I'm trying really hard to get things done. I got goals I'm trying to meet, and number one goal is I don't want this server running in here making me hot and everything and making noise, and 100 things takes me another 100 other directions. So and everything I've been doing lately, it seems like I just really need to do it. I mean, I can't think of that I did the wrong direction or anything. It's just that, but then things take way longer than. Like instead of at first I think it's going to be a few hours, and then I think okay maybe it'll be a day, and then I think okay it'll be 2 days, and then it's a week. So all right, so I'm gonna go and come back probably tomorrow and work some more on this stuff. All right, bye bye.